Okay. Good evening, everyone. So today, as a part of the programs of academic counseling and training that is actually targeted for the higher secondary and secondary students and all the adolescents who are going through the phase in life where they're not able to understand most of the things that they're doing. In this session, we are touching upon what hormones are and their impact and all that. So before going ahead and introducing the speaker, the resource person to you, I'll just give you a brief about what this session is all about. Ahalya School of Engineering and Technology has come up with a noble initiative of guiding the students and their parents on how to help them perform better in their examinations and in life. Because just performing in their examination and getting good marks may not always be that does not always lead them to be a successful individual. So to be a successful individual, there are certain life skills that they require. So last Sunday, we had dealt upon a topic called stress and anxiety management. So we had a speaker came and expressed about how do we chase stress. Instead of stress chasing us, we should be chasing it and overpowering it. So a few techniques were given to us. And the recording of that also will be shared with all the people who have not participated in that earlier. And this session is all about how hormones are going to impact us. It is not just the adolescents, anybody, even everybody is going through the turbulence of the turbulence of in our life that is caused by hormones. So how do we know what is going on within our body? Shahana, please. Shahana Shafiq is sharing her screen, so please. Yeah, thank you. So here, Dr. Ramalingam is going to address the topic on how hormones and the diets that are going to influence the hormones are ultimately having an effect on our thoughts and behavior. And our thoughts and behavior are converting into our action. Our actions are the outcome of what we do, be it success, failure, acceptance in society, whatever. That's all based on our actions. So ultimately, you see how your diets and hormones are affecting your actions and your success or failure. So we have control over that. So he is going to give us a brief on that. So I will just read through the Dr. Ramalingam's profile because you need to know whom you are listening to. So I'll just go through, I introduce Dr. Ramalingam to you, all of you. Before that, I will welcome all the participants who has made this time, has taken this time to be a part of the session. And I welcome Dr. P.R. Sri Mahadevan Pillai. I welcome Dr. P.R. Sri Mahadevan Pillai, the director of Ahalya Group of Academic Institutions and the principal of Ahalya School of Engineering and Technology. And next I welcome Dr. Krishna Kumar Kishore, who is the assistant director of Ahalya School of Ahalya Group of Academic Institutions and vice principal of Ahalya School of Engineering and Technology. And next, Dr. Raikar sir, who has taken his time to be with us in the session. And Dr. Shubhodhanan sir, who is again, they're all busy in their life, so but they have taken that time to be with us. And I welcome all the participants, students, parents, well-wishers, and I also have a few teachers from other schools and participants from out of Kerala. I welcome all of you. And then last but not the least, I welcome you, Ramalingam sir. And again, no, that Sunday is the only day that you get, and I have stolen this Sunday from you. So thank you for being with us, and I welcome you. And now let me introduce, and I request all the participants to please mute yourselves, because if you don't mute, then you know that the volume of the call, now there are around 112 participants, and more will be joining. So if somebody speaks, it is going to affect all the other participants too. So please mute yourself. And if you have any queries in between, you can raise your hand and you can put your comment, your question in the chat box. I will read it out to Dr. Ramalingam and he will answer your query. And towards the end, we will have a dedicated question answer session. And this is going to be an interactive session. So please, when he asks you a query, please put your response in the chat box. That way you will be able to make maximum out of the session. Now let me introduce our speaker to all of you. Dr. Ramalingam P. Kandasamy. He is he's done his MBBS and DCH and MD in general medicine, and he is the general physician of Ahalya Diabetic Hospital, Palakkad. He was a former assistant professor of medicine of Karpagam Medical College, Coimbatore. He's a member of Indian Medical Association, and he has worked in the National Health Service UK, United Kingdom, at the Royal Cornwall Hospital, Truro. He's done his fellowship in HIV medicine and clinical leadership training, which is a full-time one-year fellowship from the Government Hospital of Thoracic Medicine, Tambaram, which is recognized by the government of Tamil Nadu. He has also worked with International Training Center and Educational Center for Health, which is under the Department of Global Health, University of Washington, as a senior clinical trainer. He was associated with NACO India as a part of HIV training and curriculum development. He is also a specialist in HIV and TB, that is tuberculosis care, and infectious diseases. And he's also interested in clinical research. He's quite interested in that. He has various publications in national and international journals. To name a few are the Journal of the Association of Physicians of India. He has published journals in the on various topics on communicable and clinical on these infectious diseases. So now over to you, Ramalingam sir. I will share the slides for you, and whenever you want me to change the slides, please let me know. And the stage is all yours. I will share the slide right away.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for the nice introduction.
So I hope the slide is visible. The slide is visible, right? I think slide is visible to all the participants too. Yeah. Now we can go ahead, sir.
It's not visible to me. It's not visible to me.
Have you pinned yourself to the screen? If you what you can do is, if you go to the participant list, you can pin the academic presentation on the slide or on the screen, so that you can see that, or you can go to the tile view.
Yeah.
Now it is visible, right?
You are visible now. Academic
so instead of instead of pinning me, you can pin the next one, that is academics outreach presentation.
Yeah. I got it.
Now it is done, right? Okay.
Sorry for the technical glitch, and I welcome all the participants on a Sunday evening, and sorry to bother you all on a Sunday evening, and we feel like it's quite comfortable to talk about probably a very common thing which affects our daily life: diet and the hormones, and how they influence our thoughts. Because it's all it's everything comes to the hormones, and the hormones act through the diet. What we take are converted into the hormones. So it's a thoughtful topic which our earlier group of people, earlier outreach of people had come up with, and a very essential topic for the target audience we were targeting is between the 15 and 19. And these are like the influences of hormones start at this age, and you guys are the people who need to know about these terminologies, so that instead of we doctors recognizing it, you yourself can, like, each and every day what you do are related to hormones, so that you can relate yourself to these terminologies and see how it is helping you. Next slide, please. So before starting the session, I'll just put in a disclaimer, same as what happens like whenever you see a movie. Throughout this session, you'll be hearing certain words like dopamine, serotonin, thyroxine, cortisol, estrogen, testosterone, hypothalamus repeatedly. Sorry for that. So these are the terminologies probably some might have come up with, may already know, or if it is the first time that you are hearing it, you'll be hearing it repeatedly during this session. So we'll see how these words, how these terminologies affect our daily life. At the end of the session, you may feel familiar with those terminologies and feel free to use those words in relation to our daily activities, like say dopamine. What does dopamine does to our body? And what does serotonin does to our body? What does thyroxine does to our body? And what are all the foods that that increase our dopamine? So say if you are excited, what is the hormone that's coming up? And what happens when? So that's just what is, so I just want to put this disclaimer before we start this session. Next slide, ma'am. I had a doubt. I'll put it as, is our brain working? And if it is working, does the brain produce any hormones? And if at all, if it produces, where does the hormones act on the brain? I'm thinking whether the hormones act on what I think. And can we detect whether the hormones are low or high? And if at all, if there is the hormones are low or high, can the hormonal imbalance be fixed with only the diet rather than with medications? So this is what we'll be going through this entire session. So we'll see how it is, how the hormones are produced, how it acts on the brain. So at the end of the session, we'll see whether we could get answers for this. Is our brain working? Next slide. Again, a technical point. The first word comes, the hypothalamus. That's the most important gland. This is about 7 hormones produced by the brain. I don't want to go into all those hormones. People, science students who are here can name out those, list out those hormones. And anyway, you'll be knowing, we'll be dealing with that in the next few slides, what they do, how they act. Probably there'll be more of technical details for the biology students. Probably there may be even about getting 2 or 3 questions related to that. But more than the exam point, we'll see how these hormones impact us on a day-to-day life. Next slide. Oh my God, what happened? This is a blank slide. Oh, what happened? Oh, something happened. Oh my God. Oh, something happened.
Check the color of the font.
Oh, next slide, ma'am. Oh my God, all the presentation is gone. Next slide, ma'am. And next slide. Yeah, I did it purposefully. Ma'am, please go back to the back slide. Back, please come back. Yes. See, the blank slide is like, it happens to us on a daily basis. Suddenly our brain stops working. It happens to us, right? Probably can put it in the chat box. At some moments of life, it can happen on a daily basis. Our brain stops working. What if my brain doesn't work? What is it called as? Anyone? I just want to see the chats if anyone is able to. What we call as the brain stops working? Any answers? I'm waiting for the chat box. Coma, that's a big thing. Brain death. Vaishak. I'll wait for 2 more answers. Yeah, Coma's technically speaking brain death. Coma, we don't have to go that way. See, the last slide, the slide, we can't think. Yeah, that's correct. Blankness, that was the slide which we meant. The slide was to tell about the blankness. What happens? The blankness in the brain. That's what we call as depression, which we deal on a daily basis. And what happens? What are all the hormones? The other name of the hormones are the neurotransmitters. the most common, the hormones or the chemicals which makes the brain work are serotonin and dopamine. They are the chemicals that's produced in parts of the brain. So when we embrace a new goal, so
sir, your mic is on mute. Ramalingam sir, you have gone on mute.
has
Yeah.
it been for long?
That's fine.
Has it been for a long time, ma'am? Or?
No, it was just now.
Okay,
Just now.
I don't know how it went. So dopamine, when we approach a reward or embrace a new goal and we are approaching a reward, that is when we get secreted.
Again, you okay.
Dopamine gets secreted in large amounts. Same thing is with serotonin. I don't know what's happening, man.
No, it's fine. Now you're audible. You're audible. Actually,
Serotonin, when the confidence level is very high for us, then the serotonin kicks up. So dopamine and serotonin are the one which keeps our brain very active. Next slide, ma'am. So actually, dopamine, we call it as a happy hormone. Happy hormone, and we can even have some what you call as a happy hormone diet. A diet can dairy foods such as milk, cheese, and yogurt, fruits and vegetables, in particular bananas. These are all like which we can get on a daily basis, eat on a daily basis. Dark chocolates, rather than going in for the milk chocolates, it's the dark chocolates, almonds and walnuts, a handful of that. Those people like people who eat fish and egg whites, like these are all rich in dopamine. So a diet, which if we are able to have a diet which consists of more of dopamine, our mood will be like we can always be in a happy mood. Next slide, ma'am. So the opposite happens when both the dopamine and serotonin, the two chemicals. So I think I've used the two words like almost the 10th or the 12th, dopamine and serotonin. When the low levels of serotonin is there.
Okay, again, I request Ramalingam sir, if you could just mute your video, maybe the.
Okay. I'm just turning off. But I know.
We can just try this way. Yeah.
Like Shahana, Shafiq muted you for everyone. I think someone is muting me, man.
Oh, okay.
So is it possible, like that? Yeah,
Okay, let me see if this happens again. Maybe we will do something.
I think that should not be a problem. I think she was muting it.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know how it's happening.
Okay. Maybe it was some error. Maybe because of some error it would have happened.
No issues.
Okay, fine. So let's go ahead. Yeah.
So the low levels of serotonin in the brain may cause depression, anxiety, and sleep troubles. Sleep, like trouble having the sleeps, like onset of sleep and the prolongation of the sleep, the duration of the sleep. So before we like it's an like age-old saying, before going to sleep, have a cup of milk and banana. Do you know why it was like most of them take like a cup of milk, a hot milk, and bananas? They're rich in serotonin-rich foods. That is what the bananas and the milk. That's what they are full rich in serotonin, and they initiate the sleep. And the duration of the sleep, like if you go deep into the sleep, there are about few sleep cycles. So the initiation of the sleep and the alpha and beta activities set in. Next slide, ma'am. Quote, serotonin is one thing which you cannot get directly. Exercise, bright light, sunlight. Sunlight is the most brightest light that we can find out. Supplements and good massage or anything which,
Connection. Yeah, okay.
anything which ups
Can
the
you
mood.
hear me?
So these are all the things which
Okay, I think I lost my connection for a second.
so these are all the things which can increase the serotonin. And next slide, ma'am. Ma'am, next slide.
Actually, my net has some issue, that's why it's getting disconnected.
Next slide, ma'am.
Change the slide to the next one. Okay. Can you see the slide now?
I'm not able to see this. I'm not able to see the slide, ma'am. I think I have a question from Julie Vertical. The sleep trouble means insomnia, fluctuating sleep schedule. It is both, Julie, like sleep initiation, like insomnia and fluctuating sleep schedule have relation with serotonin. The good serotonin levels can, like if it is the serotonin levels are good, and if you're eating good levels of serotonin, then these problems can be sorted out with the diet itself.
So now can you see the slide?
Yes, ma'am, I'm seeing the slide, but it's not moving. Next slide, please.
Okay, yeah. Is this the one?
Yeah, next slide. Yeah. So the serotonin-rich foods, bananas, kiwi, fruits, plums, tomatoes, these are all things which have high amounts of tryptophan. So plantains. So these are all the things. Bananas, tomatoes, we have it on a daily basis, and so these are all things which can increase the serotonin levels, which can even lead us to a good sleep and good mood. Next slide, ma'am. So I think it's like last week you guys had how to deal with stress and anxiety. This cycle around that the brain, the sight, the sounds, the smells, the taste, the touch, and the movement. These are all things. The sight. If you see like the good, say at least a good movie itself is a good stress buster. Listening to good music, listening to good aromas. Those are all like typical stress busters. And what these all do is, how does they bust the stress? It all comes to serotonin. And the taste is the food. Good food, serotonin and dopamine rich foods will up the mood. What we say in a common term, like my mood is depressed, this, that. But what happens is certain foods dip our mood and certain foods up our mood. So these are all things. And touch and movement is like exercise. So all these in turn, relieving stress is through increasing the serotonin levels. So if someone asks, if say from after this talk, how will you all stress busters bust the stress? Is by increasing the serotonin and dopamine levels, right? Okay, next slide, ma'am. Okay, after this session is over, this is I'm all going to give you an activity. You can I think you all had you all seen what are all the foods that is rich in dopamine, serotonin. These are all called the brain booster or a diet or a drink. You can make it easy. A few bananas, pour some milk, put some dates into it. Dates. Add some almonds in the mixie. Crush it up. Don't add sugar. because we'll see how what sugar does to the brain. And being I'm coming from a diabetic hospital, I'll not advise sugars. It will be a good brain booster. You can have it hot, or you can add cold milk or hot milk. That will be a good brain booster. Make sure you drink it and see how it happens. Added to that, have 2 eggs, egg whites, very good actually. So this is the take-home message. Like after the session is over, try it out. Next slide, man. Oh my God, I'm a little stressed right now. Just turn around and leave quietly, and no one gets hurt. This situation, I think each and every one of us will face in life, would have faced in life. But since you're all like most of us, or most of you guys are young students, you might face in life. And the motto of our outreach program is to prepare for how you come out of this stress, right? How you come out of this stress, because we see a lot of people who do not know how to come out of this stress. There are a lot of ways. The thing is how to approach in a very, very, very calm way. The motto of approaching stress is to stay calm, inner peace. I use that word, the inner peace, in quite a few occasions. I use it quite often with my patients, and also to my son as well. And inner peace, like probably people who love animation movies, Kung Fu Panda 3, just see that, how the inner peace works. And also see the latest Drishyam 2, how Mohanlal sir approaches all the situations in life with that calmness. So if he had got stressed, like take that as a good, if put it in the real life person and see how he comes out of it unscathingly. So that, like, everyone should be a hero in one's life. So that is what is the motto of life. Next slide, ma'am. Next slide, ma'am.
Yes, the slide on cortisol, right? I have changed, sir.
Yeah, it's probably it has gone. The serotonin levels for the slide has come down, man. So it's it's coming a bit late. There is a question I can take. Why do dopamine and serotonin levels drop, leading us to depression, from Vanaja Ramesh? It all happens, man. Like, it all happens, Vanaja. Like, it can happen due to some problems in the brain. There are certain conditions where by certain diseases which can cause, certain drugs which can dip. So there are a lot of situations, medical situations, which can have dopamine and serotonin levels drop. And the best thing to beat depression is to have good dopamine and serotonin rich foods on a daily basis. Cortisol, known as a stress hormone. The high levels of cortisol cause headaches, loss of emotional control, and difficulty thinking. But cortisol is the one which helps us to survive and then thrive. I just want to stress that words: to survive and then thrive. We did it. We survived the corona pandemic, and now we are thriving, because 2020, all of us had gone through this. If we had tested, we would have had all our cortisol levels high because of the stress. So for survival, we need cortisol and for thriving, but uh, the cortisol levels should be in the moderate levels. It should not be too high. Next slide, ma'am.
Is it visible? I've changed it, so hope it has come up.
It's not,
Sir, is it visible?
it's not coming up, ma'am.
The cortisol and diet, right?
Yes, cortisol and diet.
I'll just share again. Just a moment.
Yeah. So I just come from the last word, and I'll just wait for some for the answer. Too much of cortisol is dash for health. Is it good for health or bad for health? Any answers? Excellent, Sulekha. It's bad, bad, bad. I'm getting good responses. Good, good, good. And before that, I'm having a question from: is migraine related to this cortisol level? We can say migraine. Like probably a lot of people would not know what is migraine. Please do not confuse what is migraine. Migraine is a part of like this headache. It might, but because it is related to high cortisol levels, can cause headaches. But those headaches can be termed as migraine. So we'll not go deep into that. But anyway, I'm getting a good response for this. Too much of cortisol is bad for health. So what are all the things? The diet which increases the cortisol? High glycemic index. What does that mean? Food that contain large amounts of sugar or starch. So all of us are addicted to sugars, right? So we all have high levels of cortisol. Actually, that is bad for health. So we can take like after the session, at least we can have we can try to reduce the glycemic index foods. We can go in for low glycemic index. At least say if we are taking 2 spoons of sugar for a tea or coffee, we should at least reduce by 1 spoon, right? And the slide is not visible.
Is it not? Okay, just a moment. How about now?
It's not visible, ma'am. There's a question from Vanaja Ramesh: is cortisol and glucose levels related? Does a person with high cortisol crave to consume more sugars? We can technically say yes, ma'am. High cortisol levels can increase the blood glucose, but it's not like it's not the other one. That a person with high cortisol does not crave to consume more sugars, but the cortisol levels and glucose levels are related. Sharath, palm jaggery, karupeti, good for health instead of sugars? Definitely yes. Definitely yes. Because the karupeti, palm jaggery, they're all like, it's not, there's no chemical involved. Better to have that rather than for white sugars.
Doctor, it seems accidentally Bindu had to leave the session because Connectivity problem is there. She will join back. By that time,
No
you
issues.
can have some
No issues.
discussion. She will join back.
Meanwhile, I'll take some questions.
Yeah, by that
Um,
time, she will join back. Okay.
yeah. No issues, sir. Any questions until now? Accidentally, I had put a blank slide previously, but
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm back now. And I will share the slide now.
no issues, man. I'm just taking in questions. One question from Mary Teresa, like, do dark chocolates have adulterants? All chocolates, all that is commercial might have adulterants, so I don't want to have. What happens from Ranjini Krishna? Like, what happens if I have too much cortisol? Too much cortisol can have you might put on weight, your skin might become loose, your face might become chubby, your sugars may go out of control, excessive sleep, lot of problems, man. Next slide, man. Cortisol.
Okay. Okay.
Dark chocolate, bananas and fats lowers cortisol. All those coffee drinkers, coffee, caffeine and stress can both elevate cortisol levels. So I think there was one question about dark chocolates. Dark chocolates reduce cortisol levels, but and the most important thing is like our time-tested homemade remedies, turmeric, milk and turmeric. The universal remedies were all cough and cold. Ashwagandha, vitamin C, like all forms of vitamin C, because these were the things which saved a lot of people from corona. And that's what we have been advocated. Ginger and turmeric, ashwagandha, vitamin C market has upped up, like prior to corona. Like as a doctor, I haven't prescribed as much of vitamin C as I've done after the post-COVID state, because these are all native foods which reduce stress levels and cortisol levels. So these are all things which I would not advocate. Sorry, I would not advocate to eat on a daily basis, like too much levels, but in moderations or even in minimal amounts. If we take it, I think all our South Indian foods will have ginger and turmeric on a daily basis. So our ancestors have designed foods which contain all these things with a lot of things in their mind. A bit of turmeric, a bit of ginger in every aspect of our South Indian food will control cortisol levels. And that is one thing which, say, all South Indian foods can contain rasam and sambar. So the chemistry behind rasam and sambar and how it influences our moods and brains. So this is what is the chemistry behind rasam and sambar. Next slide, ma'am. Probably many of you would have seen this picture and the neck. What is extend the neck? What is this behind the neck? I would say this is the most important gland which affects our activity on a daily basis. It's called the thyroid gland. Probably many of you would have heard about the thyroid gland. Some would have heard about how it functions. Some would have heard the term increased activity, decreased activity. So what happens when thyroid gland overfunctions? Like always, there's two ends, two extremes. One is the overfunctioning and underfunctioning. What we want is a normal functioning thyroid, but what we see is how overfunctioning thyroid and underfunctioning thyroid happens. So next slide, then. And how does diet implements? How does the diet influence the function of the thyroid? See, difficulty sleeping. I think someone had a question about difficulty in sleeping, insomnia. Serotonin can cause insomnia. Dopamine levels have a relationship with insomnia. But I would say still more common is any person right from the baby, thyroid hormones can affect the sleep, can affect the heartbeat. Say a newborn baby can keep on crying, and some of us have difficulty in sleeping, sleeping, and say our heart beats fast. What happens? That is like too much of hormones, too much of thyroid. People will be very thin. They'll get angry very often, and their heart beats fast, and their palms and feet might have increased sweating. So these are like too much of thyroid hormones. Too little, what happens? Morone, people will have difficulty in concentrating. People like a lot of there might be complaints from the teacher, complaints from the parents that the what are not concentrating. Always don't, like, I would not put the blame on the kids. The thing is, if anyone come across, these are all common problems, like difficulty in concentration. People like they're not listening to over anxious people, and who say like they don't have the energy to even do their normal activities. The most common is short-term memory loss. They tend to forget what short-term memory loss is, what happened last week, or what happened about a couple of weeks ago. They might, as students, we might not submit the assignments. They said, ma'am, I forgot. We should not like go up, like teachers who are all listening, like we should not go about, see if it is happening on a recurrent basis. We can advocate the parents or the child to go and get the thyroid scan. It's a very, very easy test. A simple thyroid function can find these defects out, and easily treatable. One of the most easiest thing is to treat these thyroid hormones, and one of the most easiest thing is to detect these problems. That will cause it will be a life-changing thing when we detect these thyroid hormone abnormalities. So and it's quite common, quite prevalent. Say like the prevalence would be say if we take 100 people, the prevalence would range from say about about five people in 100 will have these defects. Mostly it will be the hypothyroidism, and what we need is just a tablet. It's like a salt. Early in the morning, if you take one tablet, it's easily correctable, and we should not feel ashamed to come out putting me, I think probably by mistake. So these are all things which is easily diagnosable and easily treatable. Next slide, ma'am. So diet and goiter. Goiter is what happens is when the thyroid gland enlarges. Probably science students might have it as a question. What is goiter? Enlargement of thyroid gland is goiter. And vegetables like avoidable things, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, etc. They have, it can be avoided to, it's not for all. People, this, I'm putting it as a disclaimer, don't think that you've got to avoid everyone. People who have thyroid problems or who have a swelling in your neck can avoid these things. Sweet potatoes, peaches, strawberries, so peanuts, these are all things which can be what we call it as a term called the goitrogenic foods. Next slide, ma'am. And every disorder has got a dietary role. Foods rich in zinc, selenium, and iron. I think for COVID, most of the tablets had zinc and vitamin C. these were termed as the immune boosters, which I think almost each one of the COVID patients were started on zinc and vitamin C. And zinc is a very good supplement, and there are a lot of foods rich in zinc, selenium, and iodine. And iodine is like almost all the salt which your parents will be using and which will be using as iodinized. So these are the iodine. These are all like the minerals which play a very much role in, especially with thyroid disorders. Next slide, ma'am. So does the brain act on, does the hormones act on the brain? Another hormones, like there are, I should not keep on talking about a lot of hormones. There are two other hormones, estrogen. This is a very hormone like associated mostly with the females. But it's essential for all, whether it's essential for the human being, whether it's a male or a female. Learning, memory, and mood, in addition to nerve development. So memory problems, weight gain, hair loss, altered sleeping patterns, difficulty in concentration. People say when the estrogen levels starts to fall, mostly it happens in the females, but I think this I should not address to this crowd, but say people say who are reaching the age of say 45 to 50, people can have this cause. These are all like cause, like what we call the post-menopausal symptoms, which I don't, it's beyond the scope of this class. So next slide, ma'am. Yeah, for science students, estrogen levels are associated with two diseases. Any guesses? I'll just wait for about 30 seconds. I don't know how many science students are there, but there are two diseases which are associated with memory loss and neurological disturbances, which are definitely associated with estrogen levels. Any guesses? You can chat. You can type in the chat box. Another 10 seconds, ma'am. Then we'll put in the answer. Probably this should be one of the neat questions. Heart attack, Venkatesh. Oh, thyroid diseases. Good guess, Arya. I'll take one more guess. Thyroid. Just because I'm talking about thyroid, the answer is not thyroid. Oh, wow, ma'am, we can give a great applause to Pavitra Paul. Alzheimer's. Yep, great, Pavitra. Next slide, ma'am. Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So I just got the answer from one. I'm very happy that we got a potential doctor in Pavitra here, ma'am.
Okay.
Next slide. And Hattie Tech, yeah, Alzheimer's, good. So the other hormones, this is like, I'm not going to deal with testosterone and progesterone. These are all quite important hormones as well, like which all the adolescent, male and female, will have to, like the testosterone levels will play a much greater role in the body morphology, as well as the growth of all the male and female genital parts. So these are all things, and once we start the menstruation, all these things will be the testosterone and progesterone, all things. And testosterone is one thing which ups the mood as well, like the brain development, and all these things are linked to this testosterone. So quite an important hormone as well. Next slide. So these are like the summarizing slides. Diet and hormonal imbalance, natural ways to balance your hormones. Eat enough protein at every meal. Consuming an adequate amount of protein is extremely important. Why? Because it's the proteins contain a lot of amino acids, and all the hormones are proteins or byproducts of proteins. So each and every the or meal has got a proteins are the what you call the backbone of all the hormones. So good protein, whether it's an animal protein or a meat protein or a vegetable protein, we should make it a point that good amount of protein is there in our body. Next slide, ma'am. I got diet supplements. Leave out the first. Natural plant DIM is a natural plant nutrient. Quite commonly, we take B complex. Iodine, mostly we take it in the form of salt. Probiotic. Anyone, any guess what probiotic we take it on a daily basis? So Bhavita Paul ma'am has sent that like she's a homemaker, and yep, Manaja is very good. Sam, curd probiotic. The curd is the best probiotic that we should take it on a daily basis. Chinese yogurt. Oh, cheese yogurt. Good. So, lots. So these are all the things which is see, curd contains milk. We get it from milk. You know, milk is full of serotonin. When it becomes curd, it is full of good bacteria as well as serotonin. So think about how good curd is, and omega-3. It's like the cod liver oil, the fish liver oil capsules and things. So these are all diet supplements which I would not, I don't want to advocate, but these are all things which will help us in a long way. And I'll put in a disclaimer that I'm not advocating any of these on a daily basis. Idli is also a probiotic rich food, definitely, because the batter, once it starts fermenting, it's a very good food. But idli, what happens is when we boil it, the bacterial content might come down. Next slide now. So, over this past 45 minutes or so, did our brain work to produce any hormones like, say, the dopamine? We talked about what is the effect of dopamine and dopamine-rich food. An activity is pending for all the attendees to do a dopamine serotonin rich drink or a diet, and how did the hormones act on the brain? Did the hormones depress us, or will it up the mood? Adequate amount of serotonin and dopamine, will it increase our brain activity? How does the cortisol act on the brain? Did the hormones act on the thinking? Cortisol levels act on how we think. Estrogen levels act on how we think. Thyroid hormones act on how we think. All estrogen, thyroid, all these hormones are linked with depression. So anyone like who have a mood swings can have their hormones checked up. And if we detect whether the hormones are low, easily treatable, no cause for alarm. So did we fix the hormonal imbalance with the diet? We saw a lot of, I think I overloaded you with what are all the diet rich in dopamine, diet rich in serotonin, diet rich in cortisol, which we should not take. Like sugars, high glycemic index diet have high cortisol levels. That is what we should avoid. Zinc, selenium, and iron rich foods, which are good for thyroid. And most of the hormonal imbalances can be fixed up with a good diet. So this is how we can fix our hormonal imbalance. There's a next slide, ma'am, and in the meanwhile, take a which hormone imbalance cause the most common PCOD nowadays? Can you suggest any diet for PCOD? From Banaja Ramesh. PCOD is estrogen and progesterone. No specific diet for it, but a healthy diet, low glycemic diet, high protein diet would be always like beneficial for it. Which test can be conducted to check hormone imbalance? Does it need a doctor prescription? I would, if you want going in for a test to do it, just first thing is to do a thyroid profile. Do it in a fasting state. That would be the best test to do it on an initial basis. The rest of the tests, leave it for the doctor to find out. Thyroid is the most common disorder that we can find out. So if we are, that's the only test. If you want, we can do it. So to summarize, hormones and the daily role in our life skills. Embracing a goal, like approaching a reward, like say, I think everyone understands what is approaching a reward. So that is when our dopamine levels will be high. When our confidence level is very high, say after when we confidently do what when we do to our strengths, that is when the serotonin levels will be high. Trust triggers oxytocin. Say the oxytocin levels will be more when you trust in someone. Endorphins. When we stretch, when we laugh, when we feel very comfortable. Endorphins. Survive and thrive. Cortisol, like it's a stress hormones. There's a few questions. Fruits are good for diabetic people and for brain hormone. Fruits are good for diabetic people, depends upon the level of diabetes. And fruit, I would say, innale kaya irukkum, but aduthanal inna palam. The first day ripened fruit. That is always the best thing. Innale kai, inna palam. So the first day ripened fruit. Palam koda, the sugar content will rise. So for a diabetic people, I would say that it's the semi-ripened fruit, which is best for a diabetic. And if the fruit is being taken up, it should be after, it's just before the diet rather than after the diet. Before the diet, why? Because the diet, the amount of the food intake will come down if we take the fruits just before the diet. So the basic motto in a diabetic people would be to reduce the amount of food intake and increase the frequency, increase the timing. Diet is the best remedy for diabetic people. A best diet we can even reverse diabetes. Next slide, ma'am. Thank you, and I would say all the best for the most difficult exam. Any guesses? What's the last slide? So I leave out all the homemakers and all the parents. This question is the last slide is just a wow. Julie Vertical, it was spot on. Next slide, ma'am. Someone has got it. Life is the most difficult exam. Exactly, ma'am. Sriram was right. Like Sharat's question, how will drinking coffee and tea affect our body and hormone? Coffee, I would say in moderate amounts. Black coffee, it can increase the cortisol levels as well. So, little bit of coffee. Mary Teresa has summed up like cortisol-free life, stress-free life. Exactly, ma'am. That would be the ideal thing. Why do some people have headaches if they don't drink tea or coffee? It's just the body is adapting to them. because caffeine and theophylline theobromine, the chemical in tea and coffee, they play a role in the blood vessels of the head. So when people drink coffee and tea, the blood vessels, the blood supply increases. So that is, if the body gets adapted to the increased blood supply with tea and coffee, the headache gets relieved. So it's like the body's adaptation to people who drink coffee and tea. And see, a lot of headache remedies, lot of headache remedies contain caffeine. So that is one thing which is very, very important. With diet, exercise also plays major role in hormonal balance. Question from Sharath, absolutely. As one of the slides I pointed out, exercise increases the serotonin levels. Exercise brings in the endorphins. Exercise brings out a lot of good hormones: dopamine, serotonin, cortisol. It reduces the cortisol. It reduces. It balances the thyroid. So exercise is the more. I would rate exercise just before that. Even I would even change the topic as diet, exercise, and hormones. So if there are no more questions, ma'am, we'll call it a day. Thanks for the good participation.
Okay, so participants, if you have any more questions, you can just put it. I think it is 6 o'clock, 6:03 now. We have 3 minutes past. Looking forward to more such useful sessions. Okay, there are so many thank you messages here. Actually, it was actually a lovely session. Here you have covered all parts of how hormones and how it is affecting their thinking. Most of the time, that is not what we realize. We feel that what we eat is just for the body. Mind has no relation to it.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
So if I see there are no more questions, and as and when the session proceeded, you answered all the questions. So I think there are no more further questions. And
we'll call it a day, ma'am.
We'll call it a day. Now let me go for the vote of thanks part. First, let me thank Ramalingam sir for spending this 1 hour. It is not just spending the 1 hour, it is spending so much of your time in preparing the slide, because this is not your regular duty, usual duty, right? So you have taken that time in preparing and making it understandable for the children and parents, because most of us are not aware. We would have all stopped studying biology from 10th standard. Nobody would have touched biology. Somebody has gone on different stream. But we are all facing this problem when we have adolescent kids. And then women after 40 would be going through all these problems. So thank you very much for taking your time in making these slides and making the presentations so understandable for everybody. Thank you very much. And next, I'd like to thank all the participants who have taken up 1 hour from their busy schedule. All these students are preparing for their exam, be it from class 9th, we have registrations from class 9th. So all these students are preparing for the examination. So you have taken 1 hour of your time for this session. Thank you very much for that. And next, I thank all the staff and students of Ahalya School of Engineering and Technology for being so supportive. And they have also spread this word to their contacts. So that's why we have got so many registrations and participation. Thank you very much for all of them. And now, last but not the least, I would like to thank Mahadevan sir and KK sir for extending their wholehearted support in organizing this. And I also like to thank Binoy sir for bringing up this idea of making it on a phased pact. 21 is going to be done on a phased manner. So thank you very much, Binoy sir, and Abhijit sir for bringing up innovative ideas on, and he also helped us in doing the flyer and posters. Thank you, sir. And thank everyone. And next week we have a session on how to score better in examination. We have covered stress management. We have covered how diet and hormone is going to affect your brain and on your behavior. Now you know how to control the hormones and how to control yourself through your diet and your exercise and lifestyle. Now next is, how do you score better in your examination? Just by studying or just by teaching is not enough. There is something more you have to do. You have to be smart enough to score. But it's not about copying. It is something that how you organize yourself. So that session will be handled by Dr. P.R. Sri Mahadevan Pillai. He is an acclaimed academician. He's also the director of Ahalya Group of Academic Institutions. So he has around 38 plus years of teaching experience, and he is a great academician whom everyone knows. So his session will be on next Sunday at 5 o'clock. So I will be passing on the information to all of you. And thank you all for spending this 1 hour with us. And I feel that this is going to be helpful for all of you, because it was helpful for me. Most of the thing I have realized through this session. Otherwise, I would have gone and met a doctor. If I have a hormonal imbalance, a doctor would have given me many medicines and he would have said all these things to me. Now I know how to keep away from the medicines if I spend some time on preparing my diet. Not for me, just for my family also. Thank you very much for all your time. Thank you, sir, once again.
Thank you.